Hello, class. Professor Cisneros here. At the end of each week, I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about what we've done, what we've covered, and what we can expect for the coming week, what I'd like to see. So, in this past week, we were looking at multicultural teams and our respective uh, experiences. One of the things that it's important to remember is that while it's of great value to have that sort of exposure, not everybody is going to. And not everybody in this class has had that level of exposure. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. When I first started out, I went from just being a nurse and being a med tech and a number of other things and having very limited exposure to anybody. Then I started out as a CRA doing primarily studies within the US and Canada. And then, even as a project manager for a few years, I was doing exclusively domestic studies. And then all of a sudden, I sort of got thrown in the fire and started managing enormous studies without any training. And fortunately, some of us have received that sort of training. And it's been my experience, and in talking about the experiences that other people have had, is that that sort of training is always valuable, but I find it even more so when you're going to be dealing with the general public. So if you're in a position where you're going to be doing so and receiving and communicating and interacting with people from many different cultures, you either have to seek out that sort of training, that is, try to learn everything you can, i.e., from the internet, take any courses that you're able to, or seek out that sort of training from your employer. A lot of universities have that sort of training, but not everybody. So do your best. Uh, the most important thing is that you're absolutely going to be dealing with an individual. You're not dealing with an entire culture, and there's some things that always within those individuals within the culture always bind us, but everybody is different. And I mean, people from the Northwest are going to be very different than people from the Northeast and different from the South. So when you talk about, say, all Americans do this, we all know as well, at least most of us that have lived here for a long time, is that that's not necessarily true. And the same is going to apply to every other country and every other culture. So always keep that in mind, and always have the respect. You earn respect if you treat everybody with respect, and things will almost certainly always go much smoother. And you absolutely learn from each other, and ultimately, that's really the goal. As far as actually using the voice threads are concerned, and anytime that you're going to be doing any sort of verbal work using this sort of technology, always keep in mind that of what's going on around you. I've had instances in which individuals have their dogs playing with the mics, and that is extremely distracting. Things going on in the background, whether it's other people talking while you may not be able to see them, it's very distracting. So always keep that in mind. Practice before you, especially if you're going to be doing a slide presentation. Always practice that before you actually start. Know your slides. Don't find yourself stumbling across it. And so that makes for a much smoother interaction with your audience, because that audience is going to be, in this case, most of the time it's just going to be me, but sometimes it's going to be with many other people. So always do that. As far as this coming week, we're going to be looking at three different clinical monitoring models. You're going to be looking at the sponsor model, you're going to be looking at a CRO model, and then you're going to be looking at a CRA, independent CRA model. You've got 4 questions you need to answer. On the first one, it says or asks, should Deidre recommend moving ahead with the CRO model, or should she promote the independent CRA model? There's a typo there, and the other option is sticking with the internal model. That is, that you're not going to outsource anything at all. So keep that in mind, because all of the information that is provided that gives you the data to make an informed decision also includes maintaining the study in-house. As always, look at and provide rationale for whatever you decide to do. There is no wrong answer, but you do need to defend, and that's what I'm looking for. And I'm going to be asking questions that are going to challenge your thinking. Whether I would move in that direction or not, that's not important. The important thing is supporting and defending the decision that you make. Because when you make this as a project manager, these are the types of decisions that you're going to be making, and you have to defend it. You're going to be presenting to, say, upper management, and they're going to want to know, well, why did you pick, say, the CRO model over the independent CRA model? And you say, well, it saved money. How much money? And so always be looking at the information and compare one to the other. So if you save money on one thing, how much did it cost on the other thing? And versus still the third. If that information is not available for one or the other, that's going to be a point that you want to be able to make. When you're putting this together, I like to see bullet, answer, bullet, answer. So that way your audience, in this case it's going to be me, as well as the other students, don't have to try to figure out exactly where is the answer. You don't have answers that are blending into each other, because sometimes they can be very difficult to tease out. So bullet, answer, bullet, answer, bullet, answer. That's going to also apply to your assignments, to your papers. I like to see that, except you can use it as a header, and then you provide the information that you're going to see. So take a look at at everything that you've got coming up for this coming week, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via email. If you need to, you can always call me if there's if something happens, you have an emergency that you need to reach out to me about. Feel free to call me on my cell. If by chance I don't happen to be available, then I promise I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'm also going to be posting my hours. There's going to be an hour or so available that I'm going to make available exclusively to the students, so that way you don't have to worry about being able to get a hold of me. I will be available on that time. I'm thinking it's probably going to be on Mondays, but I'm looking at my schedule and balancing a few things out, and so that be on the lookout for that. It'll be posted. I'm certainly going to email it to everybody, and I'll post it on somewhere in the assignment. But like I said, the easiest thing will be for me to just email it out. Questions? Reach out to me. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you on the discussion board.